Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Cape Town Sevens, and this one is an absolutely huge one to take place as a pool stage fixture. It is Fiji versus South Africa. Already in this group, we've seen New Zealand and Great Britain in action. Every win absolutely crucial for Pool A. We have to wait and see exactly what happens for this contest. Looking through at the away side per se. In this contest, it will be Josefa Talatholo, Seva Mothanafangi, Jeremiah Matanu, who is also the captain of this Fijian side, Narongo, Tario Vailawa into the starting side. I'm very happy to see that, as he was an absolutely outstanding member off the bench for Fiji last week, as well as the fact that when he did start in the closing contest up against the French, did have a lot of success as well. Vuiviwa Nadovalo, that man was the man of the tournament, I feel. Out of any side, he was absolutely formidable for the Flying Fijians. And then George Balsi, he closes out the Fijian starting lineup for the South Africans. In front of the home crowd, it is David Brits, Zane Davids, Christy Krobala. So a lot of power up front for the Blitzboks team. Tristan Lades, Shilton Van Wyk, Ricardo James Duarte, and also MP Vesa. So quite a few changes compared to what we did see for South Africa in the last competition. Now, they started off with a hiss and a roar, getting themselves the win over the French, and then eventually actually missing out in the quarterfinals, or missing out on the semi-finals, I should say, sorry. So they want that to change here. They've got a good chance of being able to do so, but in front of that Cape Town crowd, normally that is what gets South Africa up to that next level that they need to be at in this type of matchup. But do let me know your score predictions. I am absolutely ecstatic for this game, and the best thing is, there's more awesome fixtures just around the corner. South Africa, they will play New Zealand in the near future. We will see Fiji take on the Kiwis later on. And GB, a side that can cause a little bit of an upset if they need to, could also have a big old tournament here if they can bounce back. So most here think Fiji are going to win, says Bruce. I mean, Fiji, they did finish third in the overall standings last week compared to the South Africans, who did get themselves the 5th place in the end. And where's the Buck supporters, says Philip. I think a lot of them are at Cape Town Stadium for this contest. Looks like a very decent crowd. Nick Hogan will be the referee in charge of this 142nd match for that man on the series. So a massive amount of experience for him, not just some of those players who are taking to the field as well. Fiji too big, too fast, says Shane. And these two sides did actually meet in last week's competition in Dubai. But now ready to go. Fiji fired up, looking to get themselves another victory. Last week it was 28-10 in favour of the Fijians. And it's kicked off long, so straight away trying to force Fiji deep into their own territory. Into the breakdown there, David Brits decides to pull out of it. Wide cut out pass, risky play there, but a missed tackle from Christy Robala, and all of a sudden it becomes a foot race. Taria Vailawa wrestled down, looking for the risky offload, and it works out for the Fijians. Now, thought about another offload. The time it would have been Narongo. He had a pretty successful Dubai Sevens competition too. Vuiviwa Nadovalo looking for the wide cutout pass. Now, Fiji love offloading. There is absolutely no denying that. But that can come with the risk of a counter-attack. But this time, Fiji cut up the middle. They will score the try, and that is the first of perhaps many for the Fijians throughout this competition. But Narongo goes over. And that kind of silences the home crowd. We're not hearing as much noise from the Cape Town locals. They will know that their Blitzboks side can still get back into this contest. And yes, score go Fiji. Let's go South Africa, not Dubai. Says Unva there. And also, I can't see a draw. And when the Fiji become so good, they have always been a strong side on the 7th circuit. They've had a couple struggles throughout the last couple of years. There's absolutely no denying that. But yeah, it just seems to be in recent times anyway, they've started clicking this year. I'm watching live on my phone. It says Roblox in there. Now, kick has gone over from Fiji. 90 seconds into this contest, and the Fijians, they are leading this one 7 points to 0. Now, kicked off high. They love a bit of ball retention off a kickoff. That one's gone backwards. Taken by Christy Grobela inside of his own 22. Just takes contact with Narongo and Civil Mothanothangi. Zane Davids. And across to the left-hand side, Ricardo James Duarte finds Tristan Lades, who once again running sideways here, cuts through. Almost used the referee to his advantage there in terms of creating a bit of a block. Oh, he's been dropped hard, and that may be an advantage and a yellow card against the Fijians at least. But for now, South Africa moving forward. David Brits offloads, and that will be the try. And it's going to be Christy Hrobala who manages to score it. Now, I think the TMO has already checked to see if it was a tip tackle, and it sounds like it is not going to be anything more than what would have been a penalty up against the Fijians, but that now makes the score 7-all between these two sides after only a few minutes of this contest. But Tristan Lades created his opportunity, created the gap, and then kept that ball moving. I think when the score is 73 up, and go for the eyes again, says Hobbit there. And also tackling, says Ruth, and also try, says Wildlife, as well as Philip Bailey. But yeah, a very nice full field work try from the South Africans. Crowd absolutely loving that one, but that kick has gone over, making the score 7-all between these sides now. Who's won the most titles, New Zealand or Fiji? If we're talking just Cape Town, New Zealand are the most decorated side out of anyone. In terms of in general, I think New Zealand, but Fiji have got those big accolades of winning the likes of the Olympic gold medal. What a run that's going to be. Voivewa Nadovalo, he had two defenders trying to stop him, but he will win the foot race. And that is going to be another try for the Fijians. And again, between the posts, something we saw the Fijians doing all throughout Dubai Sevens last week, making it a nice, easy kicking attempt for the teammate. And game on, who's the most composed, says Shane. But yeah, it's so hard to defend up against both of these sides. They just love scoring tries for fun. And thanks, Hamish, says Roy there. Vuivua Nadovalo once again showing how much of a crucial member he is of this flying Fijian Sevens side. And that one's going to be over from George Balsey, making the score now 14 points to 7 in favour of the away side. That is a risky game right there. Those two men are on their phones in a hot tub. Now, I hope that those phones are waterproof, because if they are not, you definitely don't want to be dropping it. And it's probably a lesson that you learned very quickly not to let that phone go. Nicely taken off the kickoff from Impevesa. Now St. David's going off to the left-hand side. Chance here for South Africa to get this ball moving. Big collision with Tristan Lades. One moment, I'm just about to sneeze, so I will very quickly mute yet again. We are good. But now still in the position. South Africa here, just out from their own 22-metre line. Christy Hrobala, he's had a good start to this contest. Too many ads advertising their stuff, says Bruce. Are you talking about like at the game? Is it like a hot tub sponsor maybe? To be fair, I think that's what they do in New Zealand for one of the special games that they play. It's pretty much advertising hot tubs. But now going off to the right-hand side, kicked him away from Shilton Van Wyk. Gets the bounce of the ball, running it. And no one will catch that man. And it's another try for South Africa. Not the easiest kick, though. Probably the toughest of the day for these two teams. But again, just getting straight back into it. Shilton Van Wyk, the crowd starting to come alive now. They know how much these few crucial points could mean. Hot tub streams are their own genre, says Big Rig. Bless you, Hamish, the commentary goat, says Shane. In there as well, but Shilton Van Wyk just going down the wing. It was the pickup of the ball, so clean. And Taria Valawa is not able to get it. No, interrupting the video, says Bruce. And also we have the Sharks used to have a hot tub or tub on the side. They have a full-on water park down one end, don't they, at Kings Park Stadium? That kick has missed away to the side. So they score now with 1 minute remaining in the first half. So it's 14 points to 12 in favour of the Fijians. But that's still close enough that it could easily drift in either side's direction. Ready to go for yet again another kickoff here. I believe the tactic will be kick it off high, and that is exactly what the Blitzboks go for. Josefa Talafolo, such a clean take from that man. Now to Ria Valawa, Sevo Muthanafangi. Another offload here from Fiji. That is what makes them so dangerous, is just keeping that ball alive. Another step, Vuivua Nadovalo. That looked like a full pass, and it is called by the referee. This is the first time in this game that we have seen a side lose that momentum, either through a handling error or through a penalty. So this could be the big changing point. And this match just a little bit too forward from Vuivua Nadovalo. South Africa ended a 9-year cup drought on home soil last year. It's a long one as well. We did see the Cape Town Sevens final, I believe it was about 2 or 3 years ago, where New Zealand played Samoa almost underwater for that game. That man is committed. He is in a T-Rex inflatable costume, a fast and pass so well. Says pleasant tease. That ball goes out to Ricardo James Duarte, but now the attacking chance for the Blitzboks. And every time a side has been inside of the 22, they have gone on to score in this matchup. Christy Robela. Now George Balsey on the ball. No, does get penalised. No clear release is the call there from the referee. Now this is where you may consider a scrum if you are the South Africans, and that is exactly what they have decided to do. Close game, says Jeff Hayes. And I hope they've got swimwear on. I'd like to think that they did, although we couldn't see the bottom half. Christy Robela, tackled by George Balsey. And I've said there, no clear release. He did also end up with the hand on the ground as well for Fiji, but this could be the turning point in this whole game. Like I mentioned, there's not going to be a huge amount of turnovers coming throughout this match, so you have to make the most of it when you do get the chance. South Africa have topped their pool in the past on 20 of the 24 games in the Cape Town Sevens competition, I think they just said. Ricardo James Duarte, again moving off to the right-hand side. Tristan Lates, he's had a great start to this contest. Ricardo James Duarte, this time wrestled down, big driving tackle made by Tario Vailawa. Now back across to the right again, Zane Davids. Thought about the skip pass, but Shilton Van Wyk does hang on to it. Ball there, George Balsey gets penalised. Losing his footing. He's going to drop that ball. Fiji starting to give away too many penalties in quick succession, just out from their goal line. Well, closest game so far. So here's Katzenel. Yeah, that game between France and Spain finished 5 points difference between those two sides at full time. We could get a similar type of scoreline here, although I do think that South Africa are starting to take the momentum in this matchup. Feeding off the home crowd, Christy Robela. Looks like he is about to make his way off the field, or is he? He might actually just be setting up out on the wing at the Mouse Hamish, says Ruby. Now ready to feed this ball on Ricardo James Duarte again. Oh, that one was almost hooked away by Fiji. But it is going to pop out the mouth. Shilton Van Wyk. That is a huge pass out wide to Christy Robela. Dealing with a bit of breeze as well. George Balsey trying to ribbon towards the sideline. Balsey does win the penalty this time. He has had 2 unsuccessful, but this time he gets it. And if you're Fiji here, you're leading by 2 points. I think you just tap and kick it out. And that is exactly what the Fijians do. That is something that they will not do often. That shows a little bit of respect to the South African side and pretty much says they felt like it was going to be too much of a mission to get out of that own 22. Definitely only starting 5 metres out from their own line, but half-time in this contest, 14 points to 12. We have there, what a half. Your commentary in the last 2 minutes was just a machine of words. Says Katzenel, yeah, you don't normally get too many stoppages between these two sides, and in this case, we saw a couple penalties going against the Fijians to make sure that they don't give away any more in the second half, or else they could actually find themselves going to the bin for the 10 minutes unstructured play for the Blitzboks. Says just me, yeah, when South Africa have had their hands on the ball and they've been able to shift it around just with those shorter passes, the wide cutout passes are always risky in these type of conditions just because of how long it does take for that ball to get back out to where you want it to be. But in terms of just that, I would say the attacking play from both sides, it only takes one line break and one missed tackle and you score. And that's pretty similar to what we saw the first time that these two sides played. Fiji were a lot more clinical in their match, winning at 28 points to 10. Current score on this one, 14 points to 12. So South Africa already getting more points than they got up against the Fijians last time. They actually missed a lot of kicks throughout the throughout the Dubai Sevens. And Maiviti says Navi there. I see Fiji in the semis in the Rugby World Cup 2026. I spoke with my little eye. Says Ruby Tuesday, and Bok need to focus, says Ruth. And there as well, currently down by the 2 points, although that is a very makeable couple points as well with the way that they did start this match. And even though they're down by 2, if they played like they have in this fixture up against, I would say, almost all other sides on the 7th circuit, they would be leading at this point in time. But it just shows you how competitive the Fijian side are. They did make their way through to the semi-final last week. Were defeated by the eventual champions New Zealand, but they did manage to get themselves the bronze medal after beating the French in the bronze medal final. Bok need to focus, says Ruth, and be flying like a Fijian. Says Shane, but it is going to be kicked off by Fiji. We are underway for the second half of this Cape Town Sevens competition. You cannot afford 2 losses in the group stage, so whoever loses this game has to go on and win the rest of their contests, or else they are out of the competition. Early penalty going the way of the Blitzboks. Fiji getting penalised again for no clear release. Looks like they're getting a little bit frustrated here, Fiji. The fact that they haven't quite been able to get the hang of Nick Hogan's refereeing just at this point in time, but the scrum is called by South Africa yet again. I do actually think that penalty count, 3 at the moment compared to the 1 of the South Africans, that is what could really hurt Fiji in this matchup. If Fiji 15's pulled a few of these guys next year, then England is in trouble. So here's Rugby. Now ready to put this ball in. Selvin Davis. Bit of an early push on that far side from the Fijian captain Jeremiah Matana. Big scrum there and another penalty going the way of the Blitzboks. Quickly taken by Selvin Davis. Josefa Talatholo passes on the outside. Little bit of a stutter there from Donovan Don. And he goes into touch. That is brilliant defence from Fiji. They want the ball quickly. And they're not going to do it now. I think asking for the penalty there, Donovan Don, saying that there was a little bit of afters. And this half wasn't even enough for you to catch your breath. So here's Katzenel. Yeah, Don's such a dangerous, dynamic runner down the wing for the Carling Curry Cup competition. Did start his 7th circuit last week with some success as well. Fiji scored 18 tries last weekend. Already got themselves 2 here, but the 3rd could be crucial. Now try to run it down the wing. Narongo, well handled. Fiji maybe giving up the ball in the breakdown. No shield to Vavek, just losing that footage. Or losing that footing in the last moment. 2-man tackle on Taria Valawa. Risky offload. Picked up by the Blitzboks. And that is what can happen when you are so, I guess, carefree in those offloading departments. Now Donovan Don going back across. David Brits. But over the ball again this time for Fiji. Ripping it away. And they have got the possession back. Ball's there, short side, Vuivewa, Nadovalo, it's going to be a foot race. George Balsi has the man with him, tries to cut back inwards, can't quite get around. These big dudes, these Fijians, there's some big players on the 7th circuit. I think that most of them are for these two sides. Fiji and South Africa both known for that physicality on the circuit. Josefa Talatholo thought about an offload, does give it away in the end. Just such great strength shown from the big man. Now going off to the right-hand side. It's a 3-on-1 up against Selvin Davis. It's a beautiful sell of the dummy from Talatholo. He tempted Selvin Davis to go for that block of the offload and then scores it between the posts for the flying Fijians. That is sneaky. That is very, very dangerous, as it now gives the Fijians more than a 7-point lead in this contest. So for South Africa, I'm not saying they're going to lose from here, but if they do, they have to be within 7 if they want a great chance of going through to the next stage of the competition. Because if they do not get within 7, that could be the difference between making it through and missing out. Similar to what we saw last week for them in the Dubai Sevens. South Africans got themselves the 4 points in the end. That actually qualified them in the last position. Not looking good, says Philip Bailey. Conversion has gone over. Josefa Talatholo, series offloads. He's at 17. Now, ironically, that one didn't really count, but it did initially from that first offload of Talatholo that then created the line break. And Merry Christmas says, oh, but there, Dosa Viti Toso. Says Knox in there too. Now, 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock. The Fijians, they are leading in this matchup in front of the Cape Town crowd. This is where the Blitzboks need to get something going. The restart clock, 5 seconds remaining for Fiji, using up as many seconds as they physically can, and they've retained the kickoff. The Fijians going for the offload. It was forward though. And we have got this wild so fast. Says Ruth there, but Jeremiah Matana, I should say, just going for that risky offload. Did so well to be able to retain that ball for Fiji initially, but then just got greedy. In fact, there was Vakadrano to go for that quick, speedy offload, but it now gives South Africa an attacking chance from just outside of their own 22. Manuele Mai-Samoa, he makes his way onto the field. He was able to score himself a try in last week's Dubai Sevens. And Filippo Bukayaro also on the field. I believe that is for Tario Vailawa. So a couple more changes being made by both of these sides. A lot of hands on knees at the moment. This tempo has been insane throughout the contest. St. David's and George Balsi scrummaging up against each other on the near side of the scrum. Selvin Davids now going away to the left-hand side. This is a chance for Donovan Don to show what he can do, but a great low tackle made by Manuele Mai-Samoa. There was a knock-on from South Africa, but it was initially a penalty against the Fijians, so it will go back now for the Blitzboks. Okay, didn't get back on side, Manueli Mai-Samoa. That is what the penalty is for from Nick Hogan. 2.5 minutes remaining. Still time on the clock for the South Africans to get back into this game, but they do need to score, I would say, within the next 60 seconds or so. Around the halfway line. They're going to be passed across Ronald Brown, Selvin Davids. It's going to be straight off the boot of Donovan Don. Loose ball picked up by Shilton Van Wyk. Huge fend. And he scores the try. That is some Blitzboks brilliance down the wing. And that is exactly what South Africa needed at this point in time. They now have about 2 minutes remaining in this contest to try and fire back the 2 points. And Fiji's ill-discipline, it's been costing them throughout this contest. But it was off the boot of Donovan Don and a loose ball. Tell you what, Nadovalo, he will be so disappointed with that. He had his hands on the possession and just slips through the fingertips. And South Africa scores, says Robloxson. And Shilton Van Wyk, they knew how important that try was going to be. And that kick has gone over. Making the score now 21-19. Now, remembering what I mentioned, if South Africa were to go on to lose this game, which now looks a little bit less likely. It looks like they may be able to create that comeback, but they have to be within 7. And that is looking like what they're going to do. Voivua Nadovalo, nicely taken. Manueli Mai-Samoa, but Fiji, again, they will look to get an attacking move going. Flying down the wing, it is Vakadrano, waiting for contact with Selvin Davids, wrestles him down. 55 seconds remaining for Fiji. One mistake here could cost them the game. One mistake here could cost them the whole tournament. George Balsey looking to offload it back. Donovan Don. There's a little knock on. The crowd behind the Cape Town locals now as they are believing there is one more shot. 30 seconds remaining. South Africa have the scrum. They are not down and out until the final whistle. And some subs taking place now. George Balsey though. 2-man tackle. That is exactly what the Blitzboks needed to go. They're calling it a knock on. That's thoroughly impressive. A lady in the crowd had a Coke can on her head as she was jumping up and down, and that thing was not falling off. Get her in the circus. But now backline movement could be all the South Africans need. Fijians don't fall easily. Let's go the Blitzboks. Says just me. Yeah, this is going to be absolutely massive if South Africa can pull off the victory in the final 25 seconds. But you know for sure the Fijians are going to defend like their tournament depends on it, and that is because it does. Penalty goes the way of South Africa. They're looking short side. Ronald Brown, he is passing it back on the inside. Shilton Van Wyk scores it, and the South Africans will win it in front of the home crowd in the closing minutes of the contest. The crowd are electric. Okay, I thought for a second that Hogan was going to rule that one out. But they've said straight to ground. Ronald Brown does score it out wide. And Shilton Van Wyk finishing it off, his second in the Cape Town Sevens, coming at an absolutely crucial time, and that does keep the South African hopes alive. That man is in his budgie smugglers, and he is absolutely loving what he is seeing. And well done, says Roy. And there's absolutely huge win for South Africa. Fiji will get themselves the bonus point, but they will now move their attention to the game taking place up against the New Zealanders. I'm not impressed, says Katzenau. It does seem to take a lot to impress you. We have got their brown sugar, says Rupert, and GG to South Africa, says Robloxson. And there's 24 points to 21. The victory for the South African side at full time. Pulling off that massive win in the final moments. We mentioned about how it could be the closest game, and it certainly was. We have got there. Good. Glad I was wrong. Well done, Blitzboks, says Bruce. A nice game, South African fans, says Robloxson. And well done to the box, says Big Rig. And yeah, they had to try and be there to defend their title in Cape Town. They did win it in 2024. And that one will mean a massive amount to them. Shilton Van Wyk talking directly to the camera saying thank you for the opportunity. But the job is not done. They still have to beat New Zealand, and they still have to beat GB. If they were to somehow lose to Great Britain, that would actually halt their chances of going through. So that is, of course, the last thing that they would want in that case. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. I am just looking through. They were able to beat GB in the last stage, the fifth semi-final, 34-0 for the South Africans. I don't see scores like this often. Says Ruby, and well done the box, says Big Rig. and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Anyone wondering what is next on the channel, that next stream has taken place, I believe, at about 2:30 a.m. New Zealand time. And I believe that is going to be Fiji versus Great Britain, which now becomes an absolutely crucial game for those two sides here. We're starting at 2:35, so 2.5 hours away. Then from there is a match between South Africa and New Zealand. We'll also be covering that one on the channel. Then from there, we've got the Champions Cup, Bordeaux versus the Bulls. And then a couple more games of the Sevens to close out the day as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If anyone is just popping in now, the last-minute victory in favour of the South Africans, 24 points to 21 win over the Fijians. Christy Grobelaar got 1. Shilton van Wyk got a hat-trick. And then for the Fijians, it was Talafolo Narongo and Vuiviwa Nadovalo who finished it off. You're the best. Those of us who love rugby and don't have DSTV, says Ingrid. And we are going to be here all throughout today for the Sevens, as well as tomorrow when those finals games are taking place. With a performance and a comeback like that from South Africa, perhaps they can go extremely far in this Cape Town Sevens comp. But thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all for the next one. We have got, yay, the Blitzboks, told you, and change your score, says Anthony. It has just updated itself now. 24 points to 21 win for the Blitzboks, like we mentioned, after the hat-trick from Shilton van Wyk.